Experience Impact Wrestling like never before with instant access to all of your favorite episodes of Impact, Explosion, Greatest Matches, Legend, content from promotions around the world, plus live monthly exclusive premium specials and so much more.
This is spectacular! What a match!
The Impact Wrestling app has you covered with Impact Plus, featuring thousands of hours of on-demand action.
This has escalated quickly!
Stream groundbreaking originals.
We are all artists.
Get more exclusive content and experience a new and improved accessibility control and freedom like never before.
This night's just getting started!
Watch free without a subscription and stream Impact Plus anytime on your favorite device. Download the Impact Wrestling app now and experience Impact like never before.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to June 1st edition of Press Pass, the podcast here with a real special one today as we talk about what will be a classic match this Thursday night on Impact, a 60-minute Ironman match. Reigning X Division champion Josh Alexander puts the title on line against TJP. So I'd like to welcome our media from around the world and everybody who is watching us on Facebook. I'd like to bring in our host. We have a Hall of Fame host for today's, I guess it would be hostess for today's event, Gail Kim. Welcome, Gail.
Hi, Ross. Hi, everyone. Really, really honored to be able to host this today. I'm feeling a little under the weather, but I wouldn't have missed this for the world. It's such a special episode coming up, and we're really looking forward to having all your questions today.
So, Gail, I want to ask you before we bring in Josh and TJ. You've been in the ring for some classic matches. Could you ever imagine going 60 minutes?
You know, it's funny you asked that because we're talking about this Ironman match, and I've actually never, that's one of the matches I've never had. And it's the preparation. I can't even imagine. I'm going to ask these two competitors, how they did prepare for this, but it's definitely a big challenge, but these two raise the bar every time they come in the ring. And to answer your question, I don't know if I could. I'm sure in my prime, I probably would have prepped pretty good, but I don't know, a 60-minute match, that's a big, big challenge. And you really got to be in phenomenal tip-top shape for that. All
right, well, Gail, I will turn it over to you.
Yes.
And we can bring in our two stars.
Challenger. I want to bring in the challenger first, my fellow Asian wrestler, one of the best technical wrestlers in the game right now, former two-time X Division champion, TJP.
Hi, Gail.
Hey,
Just on a side note, I love that you're hosting this with us, and you're honestly one of my favorite people in the locker room, just because you have so much experience, not just with the company but with wrestling, and you're one of the people I respect the most as far as the way that you see the game. So I'm glad that you're on with us, and yes, I do have a lot of Asian pride in our link to the game. So
definitely.
I guess before anything else, thank you so much for helping pave the way for fellows like myself to come along and be able to do this crazy gig that we got.
We probably started, or if not, you might have started earlier than I did.
Well,
maybe you paved the road for me.
I've always been the little brother, though. It took me a while to mature, if I am even that now, because I think most, including myself, would say I'm not.
I think that you have in the ring, definitely. You've come into your own. Definitely proud to be a fellow Asian representative in this game, in this business, and like I said, you're doing us proud. So congratulations.
Well, thank you, Gail.
And next, we're going to bring in your competitor, the former two-time tag team champion, Impact champion, and current X Division champion, my fellow Canadian, the walking weapon, Josh Alexander.
Yeah, that's right. Lots of Canadian pride on this thing.
I got pride on both ends, right? Canadian
Yeah.
wrestlers are kind of, the best in the world, I'll say.
Well, easily,
And
yeah.
of course, the Asians represent all the time. So, leading into this historic match, guys, as a fellow worker who's now retired, I just know that there's a lot of pressure and a lot of preparation that goes into this. You guys are both in phenomenal shape, very experienced. We'll go to TJP first. What kind of preparation and what kind of pressure did you feel for this match?
Well, I always grew up kind of a Sean guy and a Brett guy too. And I bring that up obviously because, the white elephant in any Ironman room is Brett and Sean, the original, and I guess the thing for me is like, at least they had a few months. They knew, we were given a little bit more short notice. And normally I would say that works in my favor. I mean, I joke that I, kind of get up off the couch and go into the ring and rock and roll, like Wild Thing from Major League, I guess. But, and normally that would work in my favor, but, Josh is one of very few. I could probably count on one finger the amount of people that I've met like Josh that is constantly preparing. And, I don't think that it works quite in my favor as it does now. So short notice probably works just as well for him as it does for me, because he's constantly ready to do this sort of thing and more. So, for me, it's been a little bit more of the same. It's a little bit more difficult now. I mean, I don't know if you guys can see, I feel like Weapon X here. I just had to have some surgery on a fractured nose that I've been dealing with for the last month or so. But, training everything as best I can, like normal. I tend not to be an Instagram athlete, so a lot of people don't get to see a lot of what I do, which is okay by me. But I can assure you that I'm sure Josh is doing as much or more, because that is very much his MO. So normally what would be my Joker card is not to my advantage this time, because I'm happen to be wrestling the one guy who will literally outwork everybody. And that's not a t-shirt slogan. That's just reality. And that's Josh.
Well, I mean, I will say the two of you guys make it look easy in the ring every time you guys go in there, and your chemistry is incredible. And I think it's really taken notice, obviously. And this is why we've led to this Ironman match. So Josh, what are your thoughts on your pressure going into this match and the preparation?
I mean, I said it in the little promo package I did. The second I heard about this match, I literally smiled, because in my head, I didn't think of any of the consequences that come with this, the preparation or the pressure or anything like that at the moment, because I just thought of the opportunity that was being given to me. Because I know a 60-minute Ironman match on television in a professional wrestling sense is something that, I can count on one hand how many have happened. So this is something that's going to be special, not only because it's me and TJ, and I know it's going to be great, but because it's a platform, an opportunity that, only a handful of guys are going to get. So now leading up to it, now 2 days out from the match, now this is where the pressure kind of like, I can say it's not overwhelming me, but I'm definitely feeling it, because now not only do you have this great opportunity, but you have to deliver. And if you do deliver, well, it's going to be monumental, but it's a what if, and that's the pressure there. But when my back's against the wall, when everything's pushing against me, I always seem to rise to the occasion. So, hopefully I can this time.
Well, we definitely have the utmost confidence in both of you. And there's rumblings of this being match of the year. So no pressure, guys. So before we bring in each person from the media, we want to make sure that you all raise your hands. Sorry, guys, I can't see. I'm going to have to put my glasses on. Getting old over here. Raise your hands if you have a question, and we'll try and have everyone ask at least once. So first up, we're going to have James from that 90s wrestling podcast. Do we have James on? James, everyone make sure you have your video and your audio on when you're asking your question.
Hi,
Hi. Hi, James.
how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, thank you. Been a massive fan of yours for many years, Gail. So just having the chance just to speak to you for 2 seconds, it's brilliant.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. So I've got a question for each of the guys. So first question for TJP. Looking forward to the match. Obviously, you're well known for your versatility in the ring and your fast pace. So do you feel like going into this match, you're going to have to change your style a little bit? See, in fact, you go in 60 minutes and perhaps slow things down a little bit.
Well, that's a good question. I don't usually think about pace when I'm wrestling. I joke with Fala, and I'm sure I've said this before, that I tell him it's not my fault that when I wrestle, it sounds like music. And I joke because that sounds so arrogant, but I don't mean to really push the pace. I actually am. When I go into a match, I try not to think more than 1 or 2 pieces ahead of my face, I guess you could say. And sometimes just when the decision making comes out really well, it looks like I'm pushing the pace, or that I intend to. But that's just a product of trying to react to the situation. And the more experience I get now, I'm becoming an old man in this game, I guess, which is shocking to say. My experience yields, more, I guess, right answers and wrong answers. So then the pace ends up quickening because I'm firing off like more quickly. So in a match like this, I approach it like anything else. Every moment will be one step at a time, and if it unfolds slowly, which with a guy like Josh, I mean, it's a more complex chess match to say the least. It might unfold slowly, or the pace might quicken and stay up. And if it does, then I think the longest match I've ever done has been like 48 minutes up to this point, something like that. So I know I can get into that ballpark of time, but we'll see. I guess if the pace quickens, I'll find out. And but I'm the type of guy that's willing to do that, ready, fire, aim. So if I go out there and run out of gas and find out in the moment, then so be it. I try not to think ahead and worry about consequences too much. I'd rather just let it rip, rock and roll.
Awesome. And Josh, TJ mentioned earlier the elephant in the room that Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, the very first Ironman match on major TV. So for you to be only, as far as I know, the 3rd Canadian on the major wrestling promotion to have a 60-man Iron match, how proud are you of yourself to be able to be in this match itself?
I'm extremely proud and I'm extremely fortunate, I think, just to get this opportunity. I don't think there's any one better match that you could book me in to showcase my abilities. No offense to TJP. I'm just saying, for me, this is the thing that I daydream about every day when I'm on the stairs or running sprints or doing anything like that. When I'm tired, I think about Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels. I think about matches like that where guys just had to dig deep and keep pushing through, because honestly, I'm a wrestling fan. It's the only thing that motivates me. So like, that's exactly what I use as a motivator. So like, that's it. The elephant in the room is the thing that motivated me the entire time.
Awesome. And good luck to both of you. And yeah, can't wait to see it.
Thank you, James.
Thank you, James.
So next, we're going to have Isaac from Wrestling Sport. Isaac, are you there? Do we have Isaac on the line? Do you have your audio and video on?
I feel like those text-based adventures. Type in the question. Get ye flask.
There we go. We have Isaac on the line. Isaac, go ahead and ask your question. You don't have your audio on, do you? Anybody else hearing him?
I can't hear him.
Can you hear me?
Now we can hear you. Go
okay,
ahead.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Gail, for first, you look more beautiful than ever.
Thank you.
So first, guys, I have 2 questions. First, Josh Alexander, away from your expectation and strategies for this match, my question is about your new chapter as a professional wrestler, as this is a chapter we haven't seen in your career, right? What does it mean to you to be part of the 60-minute Ironman match before the Impact, and how important is it in your career?
it's important in my career in the sense that for the first 2 years I've been here in Impact Wrestling, people have seen me as a tag team competitor, and I was very successful at that. And I always knew I could be successful in a single sense. And that's why I set my eyes on the X Division Championship the second I was off on my own. And, I've since won that, but now, you got to set the bar higher every time. And as a champion, I need to be a defending champion. I'm going to be a defending champion, defend against the best. And that's TJP right now. And if I'm going to defend against the best, it's going to be in the most grueling physical match that can showcase either one of us, win or lose. So I think it's monumental.
Okay, man, thank you. And now, TJP, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's going on, Isaac? How are you doing?
Very good, very good. We know that you're in own right, you have become a legend, and someone important in the exhibition and Impact. I will be honest, this must remind me of the 60-minute Ironman match between Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania 12. My question to TJP is simple. What will TJP do to make this match be remembered as one of the best in the history Impact?
Well, for starters, side note, be careful using the word legend in a sentence with me because diehard fans will come for your throat on that one. But I appreciate the compliment, Isaac. And, I like I said in the beginning, I think about the Bret and Shawn version a lot, not just because it was like the original that introduced it to everybody. And not just because, I was kind of a Shawn and a Bret guy growing up. I also went to that, by the way. I sat 14th row for that Ironman match. So I sat through 62 minutes that day watching these guys. And I was about, 11, 12 years old. So a year or so later, I started my career. And, that was in my hometown. There's like there's a cosmic link, I think, to me and that part of history. The first time I got to close out a WWE show was in that same building at the Anaheim Ponds. And I remember thinking specifically about that match. So, as far as making it memorable or different or something like that, I guess repeating history, if one brash and arrogant little fellow beats the Canadian in this one as well, that would be a pretty interesting footnote. I hope that is the trend that we're heading towards. But in all honesty, like I told Josh before, and I know that the Impact accounts have put up the video of my words and thoughts about the match upcoming. It's not really about the result. I don't think it is. I think it's about the journey. This is probably round 50 out of infinity for us. And if this is just the last round for right now, hopefully I come out with a victory, but we're probably going to do it again sometime. And for us, I think the idea of stakes and making history is a little bit different than other people. I think other people will look at this and it's about the title, it's about the W, it's about this or that. And, for us, it's, I don't know, it's like Gotti and Ward. I think that they never really cared who won each individual fight. They just wanted to get out for the next round. You could tell them, dude, you're round 12 of 12. There is no next round. But in their heads, they're both thinking, no, there's another round. It might not be for a little while, but there's another round. And I think that's kind of where me and Josh are at. Not a lot of people reach that space individually or with somebody that they're linked to. And I honestly feel that that's where we're at.
Thank you.
Are we good with Isaac? Okay. Thank you, Isaac. Next up, we're going to have Bill from WrestleZone. He can ask his question to TJP and Josh.
Hey, everybody.
Bill? Hi, Bill.
How you doing?
Hey, Bill.
I actually have a question for you, Gail, if you don't mind. Gia Miller just announced that she re-signed a multi-year deal with the company. I just wanted to get your thoughts on your interactions with her so far and, maybe what she adds to the company moving forward.
We love Gia Miller. We're thrilled that she's resigned. And I do know that she is also training to be a wrestler. So it's a great foot in the door for her to maybe once she gets some more experience in training to join the knockouts division. But right now, we think she's a great addition as the interviewer, backstage interviewer. We love her energy and her attitude, and we're thrilled. Like we said, another knockout that makes us proud. Thanks for the question. Do you have a question for TJP and Josh?
Actually, yeah. This is more for Josh, but TJ too. Josh, you're redefining really what X Division competition can be. I think going into it, people were split on how you were going to be integrated into it, and the response has been overwhelmingly positive so far. Like, you know, the matches that you've had so far have been met with positive feedback, not so much criticism. So I guess to both of you, what do you think of the response so far? Did you, going into it, think about how you were going to work, or did you more or less go in thinking about, you know, how you're going to make everyone else adapt to what you can do already?
The second I won the X Division championship, or the second I even, you know, came into the division, it's no secret, I've said it many times, it was like the number one thing in like all of my fandom that led to me being a wrestler now. Like, the X Division introduced me to Low Key, Samoa Joe, all these legends that have since, you know, gone on to huge success and stuff. Like, those were the guys that I looked up to. And when they were in the X Division, I said it before, like, everybody wants to think that the X Division is high flying, or it's the cruiserweight. You know, it wasn't that for me ever. It was a guarantee that you were going to get match of the night no matter what. Every single time, whether it was Petey Williams and Chris Sabin, or AJ Styles and Sanjay Dutt, or whoever was getting in the ring, you saw that X go up, you knew that that match was going to be insane, and it was going to be exactly what I wanted, which is a badass wrestling match. So that's just been my goal the second I joined this division, is every time try to represent exactly what I was a fan of before. And I didn't change like my mindset on what I was going to do to like integrate with my opponents or anything like that. I just go in there and I try to have the best match possible every single time, and obviously try to win. But, you know, I want to leave a lasting impression on fans that, you know, likened to the one that was left on me when I was younger.
I'll say the X Division match was always second to the knockouts match, though. We're always striving for that top spot. Okay, Bill, do you have a question for TJP at all? Are you good?
Sorry, guys, I thought Bill was over.
Okay, we'll move on. We're going to go to Stephanie from Steel Chair. Stephanie, are you there?
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Great.
So nice to see you, group. Gail. Yeah,
Thank
we all love you. We all love you. We are a pleasure to see you.
Be careful, Gail's going to come out of retirement.
Oh, please, yes, please.
You know, you got the people complaining about coming out of retirement a million times, and then you say, please come out of retirement. I'm good.
Honestly, 40+ girls are killing it.
Yes, they are. Very proud.
Yes, and I am one too.
Yeah. Can't wait for the future.
I'm hesitating between the easy and the uneasy, a little bit uneasy question. Okay, I will take the easy one. The promo Scott Demore did to announce the match was pretty interesting when he was saying every time you're competing against each other, we want more, and we always want more. And as a fan, of course, I would say the same, and I'm not the only one. Do you also have the same feeling of having that chemistry in the ring when you are together, squaring off against each other?
TJ?
Okay, TJ.
Well, thank you. Age before beauty.
Well, for the next couple of weeks till that's healed, I'll take beauty.
Yeah, I mean, I think that in a way we're sort of kindred spirits in that sort of thing. And you know, I said before, it's rare that you get guys that are cut from the same cloth that cross paths and then they become linked for a while, if not indefinitely. And Josh is perhaps that guy for me. And I've had wonderful opponents for a long time. And I always say my favorite opponent was the last one, and my favorite match is the next one. That I always say that because I never want to leave the ring when I get in it, and I think everybody is. I think every time I get in the ring with somebody, in my opinion, they're the best in the world, because I don't really think that there is a best in the world, and I hope by the time I'm done in there, the person that I'm in the ring with is perceived as or feels like the best in the world. In this case, I really think that Josh fits that bill, but more than anything else, the ring feels like a big playground when I'm in there with Josh, and that's not something that happens very often. And it's like Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty playing chess. I mean, they can play that chess game in their head 1,000 times and just keep resetting the board. And for me, that's what Josh is.
Josh, you want to follow up with that?
Yeah, I can agree with pretty much everything TJ had to say. I would never have I don't know if it's my ego or anything that I try to keep in check. I try to stay humble all the time, but I think it was Mike Johnson brought this up a couple of weeks ago. He asked me the question. He's regarding mine and TJ's prior 2 matches that have happened this year and all the fanfare that came with them. And he kind of likened us. He said, you guys are like Dean and Eddie, or, Brett and Sean. And for me, I just try to not think of it like that. But when he said it, it clicked in my head. I'm just like, yeah, it's exactly what it is. It's 2 guys that, we're competing, but we're traveling the same direction the entire time. We have the same mindset the entire way. And I think above all of that, we're just 2 very passionate individuals about pro wrestling. And it's a rare thing to find all those attributes in the same thing. So when you put us in the ring together, that's why it flows like it does.
I agree. I think as a fellow worker, your ultimate goal is to be able to have great matches with everyone. But once in a while, you have that magic, we call it. And you guys both definitely have that magic chemistry, and it's special. You'll have that bond for life, I will tell you right now.
Yes.
So next we're going to have Stephanie from, oh no, sorry. We just had Stephanie. We're going to have Sid from Sportskeeda.
Hello.
Hi, Sid. How are you?
I'm doing well. Glad to be here. Glad to see you, Gail. My first question is for you, Gail. You just said that the 60-minute Ironman match is one of the matches you always wanted to have. Who from
I don't know if I said that.
well, it's one that you never had. You never had.
Correct.
But if there's any knockout from the past, present, that you can have a 60-minute Ironman match with, who would it be?
Oh, it's a tough question.
Somebody call Taryn immediately.
I was just going to say, that's my pick.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to go with that question, so that answer, because it was really hard. It's hard for me because I've had many great opponents, and I would say Taryn, if we're gonna go for the balls to the wall. Sorry if that's not appropriate saying opponent, but if I was gonna go athletically, I would have to say Tessa Blanchard, just because with a 60-minute Ironman match, just like these 2 phenomenal athletes we have on today, you would, not that I don't have the confidence in Taryn at all. I think that we would just do some crazy stuff, and we probably wouldn't be able to walk the next day or the next week. So I'll go with the safer option with the athlete, Tessa Blanchard. Okay, Sid, are you there? I think we lost Sid. So we're going to go to Chris. We'll come back to Sid. Chris from It's Our House podcast.
Hello guys. Thank you very much for having us. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to talk to all of you. Sorry if this has already been asked. I was a little bit late getting into the call. My question is to both you guys, to TJP and to Josh. So the X Division title is obviously currently the main title in Impact Wrestling due to Kenny Omega coming along, taking the heavyweight title away from Rich Swann. with your Ironman match set to steal the show, by all accounts, how important is it for you guys as talents to promote the importance of the X Division title? Because obviously we're in a day and age where there's so many titles across all promotions, across the industry. Some of them seem to have lost a little bit of importance maybe over the years. So what does it take from you guys as talents to make the X Division title stand out above the rest?
Well, I'll go first on this one. I get asked a lot. This will seem a little bit straying, but I get asked a lot, and I used to get asked this a lot too prior, because I'd been with Impact, for a long time. Suicide, Puma, a lot of things. And, option C, right? I get asked that a lot, option C, especially from people who happen to really follow me specifically. Anytime I've been X Division champion in the past, option C. And I always say I would never, ever use option C. And it's not a disrespect to, the, TNA world title in the past, Impact heavyweight title, world title now, either one of them. And I had this answer, it's not just now with Kenny and AEW and the cross promotion, but I had this answer before when it was Bobby Lashley, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was a champ. It's like, oh, option C, I'd love to see that match. I would love to see that match too, but not because of option C. See, to me, the X Division title is a generational thing, and that's really rare. You go to any regional company, they all have their own version of the X Division, No Limits, or the High Risk Division, or the, Velocity Division, something like that. And how often does something come along in wrestling that changes the very culture of it outside of, the subject itself? And I meet so many young fans that will tell me, the X Division is what got me into wrestling, man. The X Division is what got me into this. Just when I was young, Cruiserweight division got me into it. And when I was young, we used to look at the Intercontinental title as that was the working man's title. That was, there's the world champion, Hulk Hogan, whoever. But Mr. Perfect, Shawn, Brett, these guys had the Intercontinental. I want to see the Intercontinental, And then getting into wrestling for so many years, for decades, it was wrestlers wanted to be the Intercontinental champion, World title was just a glory moment. The real passion was in that. And to me, that's what the X Division is. Ever since the day I got in till now, I think, if you say the words TNA or Impact Wrestling, you think X Division. I don't think you think, you think a few things. I think you probably think of Sting, AJ Styles, Jeff Jarrett, maybe Suicide, and you think X Division. And it's so synonymous. And to me, X Division title has always been the main title. And it's not up to me to say what is more important to anyone else at all. But to me, that's the most important one. And it always has been. And for the foreseeable future, it always will be. So, that's how I prioritize it. So every time the subject gets broached, different divisions and things like that, to me, it's almost silly. It's why would I want the thing that I don't want? And that's just me, like I said, that's just me. But to me, I've had my hands on and am going back towards the one that to me is the most important thing. And I think it really defines a generation. And someday, you'll look back, 20 years from now, 30 years from now, it's wow, the X Division changed history for so long, and it's a lot of the ways I think that the Knockouts division, for example, changed the way women's wrestling was. And we talk about the women's revolution, man, that started with the Knockouts. And I know Gail knows that because she was here building it brick by brick. That's it, it's a generational thing. And I think when you can identify it, that's really rare.
I think it's pretty safe to say that the X Division and the Knockouts division have been the cornerstone and, I think a lot of the reason why a lot of the fans tuned in, and I'm glad that we've kept it running and kept it consistent for all these years.
Yeah, I agree. I think the X Division just I think all of Impact Wrestling, we've talked about how it's had a resurgence in the last few years, and it's been nothing but growth for pretty much 3 or 4 years since, the rebranding to Anthem and everything else, and it's all been going great. I think the X Division and the Knockouts division, all these divisions are in a growth period as well right now. And I think that we just have to continue to build upon that. And the way we build upon that is by every single time we get in the ring, we give everybody what they want to see, which is the best match possible by all competitors. And we've surrounded our locker room with people that can, hit home runs all the time if they really want to. So that's the only thing. I think we're all here to work. I think we're all here to try to make the product better. And by making the product better, we just have to give people pro wrestling.
Okay. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it. We are going to go to Ross now, who has a question from those watching on Facebook. Ross?
Yes. Thanks, Gail. This question is actually for TJ. It comes from Trevor, who's watching on our stream on Facebook. TJ, how does competing in Ironman Match compare to other matches, such as the Ultimate X?
Well, it's a lot safer on, I was going to say it's a lot safer on my ankles, but I'm wrestling Josh, so I guess that's not true. I don't know. It's a little bit more my forte. I think a lot of people don't know what to make of me sometimes as far as a wrestler, I don't come in the technical wrestling package of trunks and plain boots and all that, but I dare say that I'm probably definitive of that sort of category as much as a Zack Sabre or a John Gresham or a Drew Gulak or whoever, Daniel Bryan, I don't know, whatever. And I don't think that I necessarily perform like a typical progressive high flyer, but a lot of people will put me in that category as well. And I think people forget that I can really kind of slug it out until I do. Maybe that's just, this pretty boy mug of mine. But I think as far as styles, they say styles make fights. And so like Ultimate X is so, I don't want to say linear, but it's just so, it's like the ladder match, it's very straightforward and to the point. And it's, there's not a lot of depth to it as much as the broad palette of an Ironman match. I'll put it that way. Ironman match, all weapons are back on the table. So, choose your weapon and load it with whatever you want.
Great. Thanks, TJP. Okay, so up next, we're going to have Jim from the Miami Herald. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Gail. Thank you all so much. Josh, what was it like when that successful tag team was ending and now it was like, what's next? Tag team again, singles wrestling. How did that go for you? And how exciting and how challenging was that next step?
It was nerve-wracking. Like I knew the tag team was over, and as all pro wrestling, you don't know what's going to happen next. It's kind of out of your control. And I've said it before, I could have been sitting down waiting just for an opportunity, sitting on the bench for months and months and months. And luckily, I got an opportunity very fast and I was able to capitalize on it and show what I could do and show that I could like hang as a singles competitor and stand on my own 2 feet. So it was nerve-wracking in the sense that I didn't know if that opportunity would come quickly and I'd just be sitting around because I don't want to sit on the bench. But other than that, I was just like, foaming at the mouth, as they say, ready to get in there because I know I had 14 years of experience before I came to Impact Wrestling. I've wrestled the best wrestlers on planet Earth all over the world before I ever came to Impact Wrestling in a singles capacity. So I know what I have to offer. It was just, showing the right people and showing the world and the Impact fans and getting that opportunity.
I have to jump in there. I just have to jump in there and just question, and I have to give Josh some credit here because, to be a great tag team wrestler and then transition, obviously you did it in the past, but to thrive in both of those positions, utmost credit to you and respect, Josh.
Thank you.
You can go ahead, Jim. I just had to get that in there.
Oh, thank you. At TJP, what is it like wrestling tag teams and then singles? And just when you're involved in it as a tag team, that's all you're doing. That's what you're doing. When you're in singles, that's all you're doing. But when it's sort of back and forth, here's a tag team match, now you're a singles match. Just how does that dynamic work?
Well, inversely, I'll have to take credit away from myself because I did the opposite of Josh. I jumped into the tag team stuff more recently, and me and Fala, every other night we are more like a Three Stooges movie than we are a well-oiled tag team. But I guess that's part of the adventure, you know. I think that you know, it's just you work with the elements. You know, I answered a question previously with Ultimate X versus Ironman match, and you know, you take what the defense gives you, so to speak. So you know, tag match is more moving parts. There's more people making decisions. So cohesiveness is really key there. And you know, you got to understand when you have a singles match, you got two guys in there. You know, at least one of those guys is going to be kind of a quarterback in the match, and the other person's going to be reactionary at least, or another quarterback at best. Tag team match, it just multiplies. You know, you might have 4 quarterbacks in there. So like, you know, being successful in that environment, I think lends itself to suggesting that you're very good at micromanagement. You know, that's something that always impressed me about Josh before, because yeah, I got to wrestle him in tag matches, and just to see how well he can work off of, you know, another person's set of parameters and still be so individually, you know, strong and successful in his own right is something that impressed me before. And you know, like I said, that's a newer part of the game for me. I just hope I can do half as good as he did with Fala, and you know, for the time being, I hope that I can still keep up with him when it's one-on-one. So
Thank you, Jim. Appreciate the questions. And next, we're going to have Justin from Wrestling Travel. Hi, Justin. Oh, we can't hear you. You're on mute right now. Can we turn your audio on?
There we go. Sorry.
There we go. You're all good.
Say hi, Gail. I was
Hi.
trying to think of a really intelligent question for you, but I'll just go with, hey, it's an honor to be speaking.
Very
So
nice.
I have a question. It's kind of a two-part for both of you guys. Josh, I read recently how you said, you know, 60-minute Ironman match. I prepared for this. I've been preparing for this every day. TJ, last September, I got to watch you wrestle Alex Shelley in an outdoor stadium. It had rained, and you guys completely adapted to the environment. So part one of my question is, what about your opponents, each opponent's offense would worry you the most in a 60-minute Ironman? And my second part of that is, I know physically and mentally, but going into a 60-minute Ironman, what changes? Does anything change about your diet and hydration going into this match?
TJ?
Okay, I'll go.
I can go first if you want. I'm just deferring.
The old man keeps going first. Sorry,
Yeah.
you can take this one.
What would I say about TJ is the one thing I'd be worried about offensively coming from him. This is not to take away from all the attributes, you know, all the boxes he checks off. I would just say experience would be the number one thing I would be worried about, as he is the senior in the match, as he just said. He's been wrestling longer than me. I bought tickets at 18 years old to watch Puma wrestle in Toronto, Canada, against some of the best wrestlers in the world. So as I was coming up and learning the ropes, he was already, you know, gaining worldwide fame and experience. So that's something that I need to be worried about going into this match, because I know as a game of chess, and you know, experience is king. No matter how strong you are, how fast you are, I think especially in an Ironman match, you need to be prepared and, you know, give some forethought in your game plan, and that's something TJ is going to have. And as for diet and preparation and stuff like that, I don't change anything, but up until the day of, I'll definitely eat a little bit more than I usually would to try to get a little bit more energy, as it is an Ironman match, such as a marathon. You know, you need to carb up and just get ready to be able to go the distance.
Okay, thank you. Justin, next, we're going to have Dane from Hooked on Wrestling.
I think he probably wanted an answer from me too.
Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
I was waiting for the old man to come in, but
you paused for so long. I was like,
oh no, I just want to make sure Josh had said everything. Well, hopefully Justin can still hear me. But to give the second part of that answer, I mean, as far as diet and everything else, I mean, geez, just ring the bell, get me in there. That's usually my take on it. You know, and it's not to say I don't put thought into preparation. Like I said, I'm not really like an Instagram athlete, so you know, I prepare how I prepare, and you know, I'll put in the Kobe hours, I guess you can call them, but you know, I don't necessarily enjoy diving into that sort of thing. I know Josh has seen me working out at random hours, like coming back from, you know, the arena and stuff at the hotel, and he'll see me working out at 3:30 a.m. or something like that. But you know, a lot of that's not going to change. It's just how I am all the time. And I'll fly by the seat of my pants otherwise. And as far as like what Josh brings to the table, like, I mean, there's a few easy answers for that. You know, I'd like not to be crippled. So one wonders, you know, for 60 minutes, if he breaks my ankle in the first 20, you know, what am I going to do then? And I guess I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But, you know, he's got a lot more adaptability than I think that he gives himself credit for, as far as, you know, being complimentary towards me. Like, I've not met many guys that are as complete as Josh. You know, I don't know that I ever have, to be honest with you. And I've been in the ring with a lot of guys. Daniel Bryan, you know, Samoa Joe, whoever, you name it. And I'd put Josh's ability to check off every box up there with any of them. And I'm actually enjoying that people are starting to realize that, because from the inside looking out, I've seen that for a long time. But you know, honestly, it's, you know, act react as far as that goes. You know, I try not to worry too much about stuff that hasn't happened yet. You know, like I'll figure out what I'm going to do next when something happens. So whether that be my leg, my back, whatever gives out first, I'll figure out where to shift all the focus after that.
Your nose?
Jeez, I hope not.
Let's not go for that nose. Okay, thank you, Justin. And now we will go, since we're complete, to Dane from Hooked on Wrestling. Hi, Dane.
Hi, it's very nice to speak to you all. And TJP, that was a very nice kind of respectful question. So just to kind of get in there and pry that apart, I was wondering, when we've seen kind of two fan favorites maybe interact in the ring in the past, such as Brett and Sean, we've often seen a bit of an implosion. So with that example, it was obviously Sean. So I'm wondering, and I'd like, you know, an opinion from maybe all three of you, if you don't mind, out of the two of you two, and Josh and TJP, who do we think might be the one to break and turn that kind of heat on the rivalry up?
Well, you know, this is sort of like kind of a wider, broader answer to that, but just to give you insight, at least for me, I mean, I can't speak for Josh, but you know, Josh said at the end of his, you know, promo and his words talking about the Ironman, like, I'm the one that's stuck in there with him for 60 minutes. And that's true. But when, you know, when I hear that sort of thing, and he won't be the first guy that's ever told me I'm the one stuck in there with whoever, you know, I'm stuck in the cage with somebody, or in 60 minutes with him, or whatever the case may be, in the Ultimate X with whoever. The first thing that comes to mind is, dude, I'm stuck on Earth with life. And all my heroes have always been guys that, more so than what they do in the ring, on the court, on the field, whatever walk of life they come from, you know, Eddie Guerrero, Kobe Bryant, you know, even Shawn Michaels, like, these are guys that had much, much bigger battles in their personal lives outside of what they do. And if you were to ask them about the most insurmountable things that they've faced on the job, it would pale in comparison to the things that they had to overcome outside of it. And I'm no different, you know. I've been homeless. There's so many things I could go into that I really can't, because it's probably not appropriate for this sort of interview. But, you know, managing that makes going to work a vacation, no matter what it is and who it's with. And so in that respect, you know, my mindset and following guys, like, mental toughness has always been the thing that defines me. And I know I don't look it, because I don't look like a stoic tough guy, and I don't subscribe to being a tough guy in the traditional sense. But I'll always say, like I told Rohit before, life couldn't beat me. So I don't think an opponent in a ring will ever beat me, at least not up here.
That was a great answer. Thank you.
Josh?
Well, to play off what TJ kind of said there, when I say you're stuck in the ring with me, and I'm sorry it has to be you, I'm not talking about how powerful and how strong and how fast I am and how I'm going to pick you apart. I'm just saying the one attribute I have that I'll believe in and have confidence in and put everything I have behind is my heart and my ability to persevere. I've been through all that stuff that you just said. I've been homeless myself. I've been injured and retired and had this whole thing taken away from me and come back, and now here I stand. And I'm never going to let anything or anyone take it away from me again. So that's kind of what I said and why I said it.
I think you guys both, wow, have overcome so much. I didn't know this about both of you. I think when you're in the ring too, when you're dealing with such great athletes here, it's more of an internal mental thing, right? A mental challenge and something that you're challenging yourself at more than anything than your opponent. So thank you so much. And now we are going to Dane. No, sorry, we just had Dane. Thank you, Dane. We're going to Walker from the Pro Wrestling Post. Walker, are you there?
Hi, how y'all doing? Hope
Hey,
you're
how are you?
doing well. I'm doing okay. I'm living life. First, I have a question for TJP. TJ, between your commitments to Impact and MLW and NJPW and all these different promotions that you've been working recently, do you ever feel like you're spreading yourself just a little bit too thin within what you're doing?
Oh, to borrow a line from my old boss, I'll sleep when I'm dead. No, I mean, this is my life. I said in the last answer, Kobe is a hero of mine. And I remember after the 2002 NBA finals, Kobe immediately went to Rucker Park and played in a tournament. It's like, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're the world champion. You're probably the best player in the world, and at this point maybe the most famous, outside of Shaq maybe, and you're going and playing in a park tournament. Like, if you break your leg, that's a $10 million mistake. And I don't know, I've always thought, like, God, there's some guys that they have a link to what they do that it doesn't matter. And I think Josh is the same way. He takes on a pretty heavy schedule as well. But I mean, as far as for me and for those companies, I mean, it doesn't matter what uniform. I just want to get in and do my thing. Someday I won't be able to do it anymore, and everybody struggles with that when that day comes, especially when you're embedded in it for as long as I have and as deep as I have been. And so, and I got a kid on the way, and I'm sure that taking care of him now is a big deal. So I don't want to stop anytime soon, but someday he won't be able to see dad do what he does. So for the time being, I'd love to just keep plugging away.
That's awesome. I really respect that, man. Thank you. My final question is for Josh Alexander. Josh, I mean, you have such an inspirational story. It's not a hard story to get behind, just following your career. After all you've been through professionally, whether it's injuries or ups and downs, highs and lows, where does capturing the X Division Championship rank for you? And, I was wondering if you could elaborate a little bit on that.
I would say the X Division Championship, like, this isn't like a thing to put over Impact or anything like that. It's the number one thing I've done in my career. There's a video my wife filmed of my children watching me live on pay-per-view and losing their minds when I win the X Division Championship. And it meant a lot to me in that moment because, as I've said before, I was a fan of the X Division, and that's what got me into wrestling, was discovering these guys in this division that really showed me that I could be a wrestler, that it was possible. And to see my kids lose their minds and see their dad win the championship, like, that video, I'm going to hold on to that for the rest of my life. And that's going to mean everything to me, even when I'm not X Division champion. You know what I mean? Like, it stacks up. It's just, in the moment, that 3 got counted and I turned over and I'm on my knees and he hands me the belt, like I got a flash of everything going through my mind of like, hey, you broke your neck and you retired. Maybe you were never going to wrestle again. And now look what's happened 4 years later. Look what you've done. And like through that, like you think about those 4 a.m. workouts before you go to your day job for 12 hours. And then the cardio that follows after you get off before you go home to be a dad, like those long days and everything that you did because you just had this like hope, dream, or belief that this might actually like materialize one day. It did. So yeah, it would stack up as number 1.
Wow, that must be a great feeling. And your boys must have been so happy and proud, and your wife as well. And TJP, congratulations. I did not know you're going to be a father. This is amazing.
Thank you very much.
For you.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Walker. So next we're going to have Bob from slamwrestling.net. Do we have you, Bob?
Hey, guys.
Hi,
Good to see you all
Bob.
again.
How are you?
Good. Question for you, both of you. You know what, Josh, I've seen you do lengthy matches over your career. TJ, you said you've done, I think, a 47, 48-minute match. It's hard enough to make sure that the fans are on that ride and invested with you for that long. But when you're wrestling in an arena without fans, how much more challenging is it for you to make sure that they're engaged while they're sitting at home? Because you don't get that immediate feedback.
Well, so
no, I have likened this entire era of like no fan wrestling as like I think the closest thing I could say a wrestler is a stand-up comedian, because you almost need that instant reaction from a fan to know what's going on. Like if you do a comedy act with no audience, do you even know if you're a comedian? Like we're professional wrestlers, and yes, we are competing. You know, we are doing everything that we would normally do. We just don't get that instant reaction from the crowd to know if what we're doing is what we actually intended to do. So you have to wait until it airs and then watch, social media or something to know, what the reaction is. That's like the weird part about this. I think going into this Ironman and the previous matches TJP has had, I've had, like, for me personally, I think there's just an immense amount of pride that goes into it, knowing that for me personally, I'm a competitive guy. I have to find competition in everything just to kind of fuel me and like push me. And what fuels me most when I go in the ring with TJP or anyone in this exhibition lately has been, I know all the boys in the back are watching, the boys and girls in the back are watching on the monitor. And, I want to make sure that they're not like pointing out something that I'm doing wrong. I'd rather, them watch it and just be like, if I can make them be blown away, then the fans watching when it does air, it's going to be, tenfold. That's the kind of thing that fuels me right now.
So Muhammad Ali once said, fights are won in the gym, not in the ring. And it's an old saying in fighting, you win your fight yesterday, not tomorrow. And that loosely applies to what we're doing in regards to your question, because if, we don't have the live crowd, and in the traditional sense, and I, I'm very self-deprecating in the amount of years I've been doing this. I came up at an older time, and I was taught to do this thing in there and not in the locker room. So, most of what I do is like playing the 2-minute offense if you're a quarterback at the end of a game, no timeouts, no huddle, just adapt and go and take what the defense gives you. In this case, the defense being the live crowd. And as it pertains to that Muhammad Ali quote and that fighting quote, the other part of that, as far as like a performance art, if even though I don't have the live audience, if the people aren't invested in you coming into that day, then you're taking an awful risk as far as how much you want to gamble to try and get them into it over the next 10, 20, 30, 60 minutes. So, like I said, your fight is won yesterday, not today. Like if you don't have their attention at the ramp, it's an uphill battle to try to get their attention in the ring. I have confidence in guys like myself and Josh to do that in the ring, but focus is that, they need to be interested in who I am, either for or against me. You could be interested against somebody and hate their guts. And I know plenty of people hate my guts, but at least they feel something with me coming to the ring, and that enough is to, I think, hold their attention as far as how you're going to mold it from that point on.
Great. Thanks, guys. I'm really looking forward to it. And again, good to see you all again. Bye, Gail.
Thanks,
Let's go.
Bob.
Thank you.
Utmost respect to you guys. As a fellow former worker as well, I've been out there just on occasion during this whole COVID period, coming out to no crowd and just to present a title, and it was just so weird to me. And the fact that you guys are doing this, you deserve all the credit in the world, and I cannot wait for the day that, which will be soon, I would hope, that the fans are back, because I know the adrenaline will be on another level for you guys. So next we are going to go to Austin from Backpage Sports. Austin.
Hi guys.
Hi,
Thanks for
Austin.
doing this. It's great to be here. Just a quick question for both TJP and Josh Alexander. TJP, you mentioned before how you and Josh, you feel like you guys are probably destined to do this forever. Kind of what came to my mind was a Joker and Batman comparison. Could you guys speak more on that?
I think I had that in mind, at least the way that I worded it, was that sort of exact thing. I mean, whether I was going to say who's Batman, who's Joker is, up for interpretation, but I think it's probably safe to say I'd be the Joker in this scenario. Josh is endlessly, tirelessly committed to working and, doing all the right things. And I'm sort of the wild card. But I do hope that we can be a foil for each other for, as long as we do this. But I mean, I just think it's as simple as that. I mean, sometimes two guys find each other. And I know somebody had asked this before, or Josh had touched on it before, that I don't remember who he said told him this, but like kind of threw the comparison to Josh about, like, say, Eddie and Dean, guys like that, And when I was a teenager in New Japan Dojo, Liger pulled me aside one time and, in his broken English sort of way, was trying to explain that, you guys, and you guys being like me, Rocky Romero, and the guys that were there at the time, Daniel Bryan, you guys are like, the next generation of, like, Eddie and Fit Finlay and Malenko and, Benoit, whoever, all these guys coming in. And I remember thinking at the time, I still think it's silly. Like, don't, you can't compare me to my heroes. My heroes are my heroes, But now, over so long, you have this perspective, and it's like, well, those guys weren't, when they were doing that, they weren't who. Eddie wasn't Eddie at that time. Eddie's Eddie now, But at that time, Eddie wasn't Eddie yet. He was trying to become Eddie. All those guys were. So, maybe we are linked in that sort of way, like an Eddie and Dean or whoever, a Brett and Sean. We won't know it for 10, 20 years, like when Brett and Sean were first, getting into these matches, Survivor Series 92, the first Survivor Series match when Sean was younger and first went singles, and then the Ironman. Yeah, they kind of are becoming premier performers contemporary, but like, you didn't know that these guys are going to go down as legends, not yet, like, and I don't know that we will or won't, but I do think that, we might be destined to do this forever, as guys like that have become perpetual dancing partners through history.
I think kind of differently. I look at matches that happen like this and how they come along so rarely with two people that have so much chemistry together. And I think if this Ironman comes off the way I think it will on Thursday, if it is regarded, I'm setting the bar pretty high. I would like nothing less than one of the best matches in Impact history. And, if it is regarded as such, I think much like, great matches in the past that have happened, like, the three-way with Daniels, AJ Styles, and Samoa Joe, or, Claudio and Quackenbush, like, if everything was open, that match was booked everywhere. So if this match is regarded as one of the greatest matches in Impact history after Thursday night, then I think this match is going to be booked all over the world, because people are going to want to see a little bit of that special chemistry. You know what I'm saying? I think that's that's one of the reasons why we're destined to do this forever, and I think it's going to happen.
I love that. I love that you're striving that high, because that's always what I always try to pass that on to the talent. You should be striving to be the best on the card, the best of the year, the best in history. So I love that answer, John. Thank you, Austin. We're going to go next to Mike from Fight Game Media. Mike?
Hi, Gail. Hi, everybody.
How are you?
I just real quick, Gail. I got a chance to meet your husband overseas on a USO tour, and he was so nice. I just wanted to let you know that.
I'm so glad. Yes, he loved me. Military is his first passion.
Yeah. So I have two questions. My first one is a follow up to what Bob was saying from Slam Wrestling about fans. Has there been any signs from the company about getting you guys back in front of fans anytime soon? Maybe even by Slammiversary?
Oh, I'm curious myself.
Yeah, Ross.
Yeah.
Ross might be able to answer that.
No, we haven't made any decisions on that just yet.
Okay, cool. So my question is for the guys. So this is really unique that your guys' Ironman match is actually going to be on BTI, which airs before the main show. Does that make it any different for you guys? How was that?
I mean, gosh, like, give me a ball and a hoop and I'll play all day. I mean, as far as that goes, that's what I think. I guess, you sort of in the back of your mind, like, this is not the athlete in you. I guess this is more the performer in you. You sort of gear yourself differently when it's, say, television versus pay-per-view, that sort of thing, because that there's programming tempo that's outside of yourself. So I'm sure that guys that play in the NBA or the NFL, like, there's TV timeouts and things like that. And it's like, man, I'm on this 10-0 fourth quarter run and we got to take a timeout for Snickers and Pringles commercials and stuff. And it's like, I'd really like to go. I'm not trying to call this timeout right now, but the athlete has to deal with that and they have to still try to win the game anyway. And I think that that's sort of a thing that at least is in, on my mind, just from my experience, like, wrestling on major league programming for however many years I've done it now, like, knowing the differences and the tempo that I'm gonna have to work with, like, there's gonna be times where, like, the pace can be pushed or needs to be tapered back, and there's gonna be a lingering weight, I guess, when there's TV programming involved, because it affects your day. It affects your day from the very beginning. It's not like a normal day, like a pay-per-view. You show up, you're ready to go in a couple hours, normal preparation. TV day, very different, just like with an athlete in the NBA, like a regional game, is a lot easier to prepare for. But ESPN or TNT, something like that, like game of the night, like national TV, that athlete has a hell of a day because there's directors and producers pushing them in different directions and different things that change the game. So that's another reason why I feel like, for us having an Ironman match, not just the full 60, but like doing it like on, shorter notice than a normal premier match would be given as far as preparation as an athlete. And also just from the type of programming day, because it's not a pay-per-view, it affects you, there's a lot of little things that go into that.
Okay. Did we lose Mike there? I think we did. Thank you, Mike. Soon we're going to go to next, IOnlyTouchGreatness.com. I love that name.
Well, thank you for taking the time for me. First of all, I'm from Vancouver, Canada. My name is Ryan. And IOnlyTouchGreatness.com. That's our website. We do hockey players, football players, wrestlers, everything. Gail, your name actually just came up in a conversation I was having with Petey Hebner the other day, talking about lining up Earl. So we had Earl on the podcast. Everything was good. My question for you guys is if you're hosting a dinner party and you have to invite 3 famous people, who are you inviting?
Josh, go ahead. I actually really want to hear Josh's answer.
This is any all-time
sure
famous people, alive or dead?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Number 1, Eddie Guerrero. Favorite wrestler of all time. I just never got to meet him, anything like that. So, he would be at the dinner for sure. Leonardo DiCaprio, because I think he's the best actor of the modern generation. And, I'm a big movie guy. And Martin Scorsese, because he's my favorite director. I'm a film guy too.
Wow.
it's a little oddball, but yeah.
I'd probably go with Charlie Chaplin, Bill Murray, and Johnny Depp, all actors. Well, technically one thinks he's a musician, but
Well, I thank you for giving me the time to ask that question, and I look to be in contact with you guys soon. I'd love to have you on.
Yeah.
And take care and enjoy your weekend.
Appreciate your question.
Thank you very much.
Josh,
Thank you.
I have to tell you that Eddie Guerrero, I had the chance to work with him, and I actually, probably one of my biggest mark out moments was when I first started with WWE, and they just kind of had me playing around in the ring early in the day, and Eddie was my base all day that day.
Oh.
And I just remember him basing me for this, I don't even know what it was like a type of Rana. And I kept on landing on my shoulder and hurting myself, but I didn't want to tell him. And I just kept on wanting to be based by him. And the whole time I just kept on saying, oh my God, I'm getting based by Eddie Guerrero. I'm getting based by Eddie Guerrero. And he's one of those people that lived up to all my expectations, and would have loved him. Great. One of the best ever.
I've heard that from like almost everybody.
Honestly, you
yeah.
would not, you know, when they say don't meet your heroes or whatever, that is not the case with Eddie. He is one of those people that always gave advice and really stuck with me, you know, and things that I will always hold dear to my heart. So thank you to everyone for their press pass questions. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Ross, TJP. I'm so looking forward to this week, Thursday night, BTI, 7 p.m. Eastern. You can watch it on twitch.com as well. Any last thoughts, guys, going into the biggest match of your career, I would say?
I mean, I think that sentence sums it up as the biggest match of my career. That's how I'm looking at this right now, because I see it as a monumental opportunity to show not only that I belong as a singles competitor, but I belong in the greater landscape of the wrestling community. And, you know, we can make history for Impact Wrestling in the 60-minute Ironman if we, you know, push the pace and deliver like I think only we can. So,
yeah, agreed. TJP?
Well, so once in a lifetime, once in a career sort of moment, you know. And I never built a bucket list getting into this gig back in the day, but I've been blessed with having a lot of, you know, biggest moment of your career moments. The thing though that I've learned over the time is that it's always about what have you done for me lately, and I got to keep proving that I can hit a home run. So, you know, stepping back into the batter's box with a pretty incredible pitcher and batter himself, I gotta find a way to take it over the fence still. And I don't know, you know, school's a bummer. Have a great summer.
Appreciate you all. To the people who never got to ask a question, we apologize, and hopefully on the next press pass we'll be able to give you some priority. So thank you all. We're excited for this Thursday again, BTI 7 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night, AXS TV. See you all there.